All right, so I have this question here from Mohammed Awal. And Mohammed is saying, as a husband to a working woman, how can you convince her to share some of her financial responsibilities with you? That's a very good question that Mohammed has asked. It's a very, very relatable question. And funny enough, it's a question I get from quite a number of young men. I do not get it as a question directly, like Awal has put it. And that's why I must commend Mohammed for coming out clearly about how he feels on this. Because a lot of young men that approach me, they mask this question under an emotion of stress and strain they feel as young men carrying the burden of a family, especially the financial burdens. So I have a lot of young men talk about how do I make more money as a married man? How do I cope with the responsibilities of being a married man? A lot of times, what the man is trying to say is, I need help. And so I like the fact that Mohammed has come out to say it very openly. How does he convince his wife to sharing some of the financial burdens with you? How can you convince your wife is sharing some of the financial burdens with responsibilities that, as they put it there, with him? Now we will come to the topic of convincing, and I will address that last. What my thoughts are about trying to convince somebody. But then, first of all, I want to share my thoughts, and these are my thoughts on the dynamics of marriage and what the blessings of marriage truly is built on. And these are my thoughts. And they are not by any means a standard, but I'm just talking about what works for me. And you might want to try it out if you're a married person. You might want to try it out with your spouse, whether you're a man or a woman. But a lot of things I'm going to say here, I'm going to talk from a man's perspective. And I hope the women can also relate with it. Now, a lot of us don't understand that marriage is a beautiful thing, not because two people fall in love and decide to start living together and decide to start procreating and having children and have a house together. It's not because of that. That's good. That's good. But the real beauty of marriage is the power that is generated when we truly harness this union called marriage. A lot of us have never ever tapped into the power of what it is for two people to come together. And we've not tapped into this power and how awesome it is for two people to come together because we truly do not understand what the strength of a human being is. A lot of us, even as human beings, do not truly understand what makes us special as human beings. We don't understand it. We don't understand what our superpower is. So we don't understand what it means for two people to come together and become one. If you understood, when next you go to a wedding, you will congratulate them differently because it's an incredible thing. And that's why marriages are usually under attack by the devil, because they realize that it is an incredible thing. It's a powerful thing. You see, there are two shows I want to talk about. I used to watch on TV as a kid. One of them was called Voltron. Voltron, Defender of the Universe. You might want to Check it out on YouTube. It's about 5 young people that were put in charge of 5 robot lions, mechanical lions, you understand? And there was the black lion, the blue lion, the green lion, the yellow lion, the red lion. Powerful lions. And they used to fight darker forces. These forces, they were called robot beasts. So they will fight them. So each episode, there was something that would happen to make each of these 5 lions confront a very powerful robot beast. But then it always gets to a place or to a point where they cannot fight this robot beast individually. And then their leader would always tell them, I think it's time to form Voltron. Now, Voltron was a special robot. Voltron was the combination of these 5 robots. When they come together, these 5 lions, they come together to form this giant type machine called Voltron. And whenever they formed Voltron, that a lot of times just signaled we're approaching the end of that episode, because a lot of these robots could not fight Voltron. And only when they formed Voltron could they form a very incredible weapon called the Blazing Sword. So whenever Voltron formed the Blazing Sword, the robot was as good as dead. But they could never form the Blazing Sword as individual robots or individual lion robots. They could never do that. They needed to come together to form Voltron, who could wield this blazing sword that nothing could ever overcome. The second TV series is one called Captain Planet. They don't show any of these things anymore. Captain Planet was about, I think, 5 young children. They were called Planeteers. And they all had rings. And each ring could control different elements in nature. So one had the ring of Earth. He could control the Earth. He could distort the Earth, open the Earth, do whatever he wants to do with the Earth, with the ground and sand and stuff like that. The other person had a ring of fire, so he could control fire with that ring. There was a young lady who had the ring of water. Another one had the ring of wind. And another one had the ring of heart. And the ring of heart means he could control any wildlife, any living thing with a heart. So they were all very powerful individually. But then anytime they were fighting the villains, like Voltron, when they met an opposition, they had to come together to form someone called Captain Planet. And when they formed Captain Planet was always strong enough to fight the enemy. You see, marriage is like this to TV series. It's 2 people coming together to form one superhuman. Marriage is not about 2 people, two half people coming together. It's about 2 people coming together to form one superhuman. That's the power of marriage. But you can never form a superhuman if you don't know what you have as an individual human. So a lot of human beings do not know what's wonderful about the human being. What makes us special? A lot of people don't know what makes human beings special. What's our special power? Like, we know what makes a cheetah special. A cheetah is special because it can run. It's the fastest land animal. Eagles, what makes them special? Because of the way they can soar and glide. Their wingspan They can go higher than most other birds. So they have a great view. You don't see them coming. What makes owls special? Because they are so stealth in the way they fly. An owl can fly and you will not know that something flew above you. No noise at all. So when they pick up rodents, the rodents don't even know that anything is coming. We human beings do not know what's special about us. I'm going to tell you, what makes you special as a human being is your brain, your ability to reason. Your intellect is your superpower, not your strength. When it comes to organisms, we are one of the weakest, pound for pound. Not your speed. When it comes to organisms, we are one of the slowest. When it comes to what we can cover, given our limbs, we are one of the slowest. We're slow. We're right down there. We're not right up there. What we have that is special about us is our intellect. No organism in this world has the level of intellect we have. So when two people come together in marriage, what happens is that two intellects join. Two people come together to reason. That's a super force. Because one person reasoning alone is incredible. But two people reasoning is a force that the world can hardly resist. There's a story in the Bible about the Tower of Babel, where some people came together and started building a tower, and they were building it, and the tower kept on getting higher and higher onto the heavens. And God said, look, these people, they will reach us here in heaven if you give them the chance, because they are reasoning together. And so to scatter them, God confused their communication. And when you can't communicate, you can't reason together anymore. And because of that, that project failed. I want to have someone know here that marriage is not about shared responsibility. The power of marriage is in joint reasoning. The power of marriage is not in shared responsibilities, which a lot of us think it is. It's my responsibility as the man to go out and provide. It's the responsibility of the woman to nurture and care for the home. That's not the strength of marriage. The strength of marriage is not in shared responsibility, but in joint reasoning. And I didn't know this for many years. Like so many men do not know this right now. A lot of men don't know this. A lot of men are walking in ignorance when it relates to this. So we think shared responsibilities. A lot of women too work in ignorance. So when we go into marriage, we see that I am going there to perform my duty as a provider and a protector. And she sees I'm going there to perform my duty as a carer and a nurturer. So everybody's going there to perform their individual duties. And this is what causes a lot of misunderstandings in marriage. When we have clear, distinct duties, I don't think marriage is about clear, distinct duties. Personally, I don't think so. So I don't think God ever defined clear, distinct duties, except for biological duties, like giving birth to a child or breastfeeding a child. You can't do that as a man. That has been defined by nature. But there's hardly any other thing that is defined like that. Hardly any other thing. Marriage is about joint reasoning. And as I was saying, when I got married, I had this mentality too that I was going there to be a superman, provider, protector. That was my job. So if there was no money, I was failing. So I felt this incredible burden to always be the one supplying money. So daddy's money was everybody's money, but everybody's money was their money. And I see a lot of men, a lot of young men, battle with this. They feel like they need help, but they feel if I ask for help, then I'm failing in my duties. I see a lot of women too, cracking and buckling under the burden of housework. They need help, but they feel if I ask for help, then I'm failing in my duties. I want to let you know that marriage is not built on shared responsibilities, but joint reasoning. Your ability to reason together is what will make your marriage stronger. For a very long time, I felt very, very ashamed if my wife tried to pay for something. Anything. I said, no, don't pay. I'll pay. Don't pay. I always felt her paying was her mocking me for not doing my duties. I felt very ashamed of it, very insecure. So I'd rather we don't buy it than for her to choose to buy it. I'd rather we don't have it in the house. Let us not have it. Better for us to even suffer than for it not to come from my pocket. It's grave danger. I say I'm speaking for men. I don't know if women feel the same sentiment where they just feel like if I must be the one. I must be the one to cook. I must be the one to wash. It's, and I know a lot of men feel a lot of social embarrassment when they just feel like, how can you allow your husband to be washing? How can your husband be in the kitchen? They feel judged by society because they feel it is my responsibility. And because of that, there's a lot of animosity in marriage. A lot of men feel a lot of animosities towards their wife because whenever they earn, it's shared. But our own earning is very incognito, very covert. You don't know what's in a bank account. You don't know. You understand? So guys begin to build animosities towards their spouse. Someone you used to love, you now begin to slightly dislike. You're irritated by them because you just feel, why is your stuff and my stuff our stuff? And people feel animosities towards their husbands too. Why do you just get to focus on work and I get to focus on work and house? What makes you special? Why do you get to sleep at night when we have a baby and I get to stay up all night and still have to go into work? Because we have shared responsibilities, but we are not reasoning together. For many years in my marriage, I carried the burden of my responsibilities, my perceived responsibilities as the provider. And I know my wife carried the burden of her perceived responsibilities as the nurturer and the carer. And we always felt, okay, I've done my own. So when I go out to work, I bring the money. Man, don't tell me to wash no plate. Don't tell me to do anything. I've done my work. You do your own. It's not like that. Marriages do not work like that. It's a coming together. It's a coming together. Everybody's money is everybody's money. That's what we've come to do in our house. In my house. I'll be very honest with you. That's what we've come to do. Very recently, we agreed that we were one. There was no my money, her money. There was no provider, nurturer. There was no protector. God was everything. And God could use anyone at any time as a provider, a nurturer, a carer, or a protector. God could use anyone. The man doesn't have to be the provider. The man is not even the provider. God is the provider. He chooses the vessel he wants to use per time. God is the protector. He uses the vessel he wants to use per time. I remember as a young boy, my dad was working in a particular ministry at that time. And he had this boss. I think the person was his director or so, but he was directly above my dad in terms of civil service role. So it was in my dad's ministry. When he was director, was his boss. And the person was always, for lack of a better word, bullying and intimidating my dad. I remember my dad, every time he come to pray, he would pray, and my dad was so sad. As a young boy, I could see that my dad was sad under a lot of pressure. He was being sidelined by this person. He was really under a lot of pressure. Was unhappy going to work, and every time he would express it as a prayer request, and he would tell my mom and stuff. And I remember this night, my mom told my dad. He came back from work, shoulders down and stuff. My mom told him, "Change your clothes. I'm going to dress up. We are going to this man's house." Never forget. And they went that night. My dad did not even eat. They both went. My dad couldn't even argue. Went to the house. And they came back. And afterwards, we got to hear the story of how my mom went to this man's house, my dad's boss. And she told him, "You are making my husband very unhappy. And I want us to discuss it here, what the problem you have with him is." And the man was shocked. Like, where is this audacity coming from? And they spoke about it that night. And he said everything that he thought my dad had done to him and stuff. And they kind of settled it out. But afterwards, he stopped intimidating my dad. You see, at that point, God used my mom as the protector. God used my mom as the protector. She stood and defended her husband. And that's because there were no shared responsibilities. It was joint reasoning. What do we do about this? We are going to that man's house. It wasn't you are a man. You are the one that should defend the family. Don't let anybody. No. Sometimes the man is weak. Sometimes the man doesn't have the strength. We must remember this. Marriage is about joint reasoning, not shared responsibilities. Not shared responsibilities. I remember when I traveled to Canada. At that time, there was a lot of financial strain on my dad's side, you understand, working and stuff. And I remember my mom was the one that just said, "Okay, no, I have this thing, I have this money. We're going to use it to send this boy to Canada to follow up on his studies, to do this postgraduate." I didn't know till years later when they told me, because it just came from them as a couple. Nobody should know where the money is coming from in your family, that you are providing or the wife is providing. Nobody's providing. God is the provider. God is the provider at all times. He chooses who he wants to use as a channel, but he's always the source. When men start to take up this provider role and realize that the beauty of marriage is to reason together at all times and reason, who has more of the channeling abilities for provision at this point in time? It's you. All right, so we will enjoy it coming from you. Oh, it's me. We will enjoy it coming from me. Oh, it's both of us. Oh, it's going to be a double stream right now. Who has the energy to cook? Who has the energy to wash? Who has the zeal to go out and go to the market? You see, for me, in my family, I go to the market because I'm the more outgoing one. I go out more. We have one car, and I'm the one using it most of the time because I go out more. I have meetings and stuff to go out, meet people, and I prefer to go out. I like going out. So if I have to drop by the market, why not? We've reasoned together. I like going out. In my going out today, I'm going to pass by the market to get some fruits, get some food items, get some provisions. It's on my way anyway. So we reason together. It's not a shared responsibility. I would rather do it than have my wife use public transport to go out to the market because it is her responsibility. Reason together. Just last night, me and my wife decided, we have some clothes we want to wash and we have to hand wash it. We don't want to put them in the machine. And we said, let's go wash it together outside. Myself and my wife sat down. We washed clothes together. We washed together because it got the job done faster. We reasoned as two human beings using what was special about us, our minds. And said, what is more productive at this time? What is more productive? You doing it alone at this late hour and not finishing it, or we doing it together? Reason together. Shared responsibilities only bring about animosities, hidden animosities towards each other. We've enjoyed those dynamics in our marriage recently. When the money comes in, it's like water being put into a container. When I put in water from my cup and she puts in water from her cup, you cannot distinguish whose water it is anymore. It doesn't matter whose cup is bigger per time. As a matter of fact, we've extended it towards our kids. Not only is marriage joint reasoning, also family is joint reasoning. That's why we must realize the more you are in a family, the stronger you are if you reason together and pull resources together. Nobody in a family is too small. I mean, we used to operate this in my household before. When the kids have money, we put their money away in a piggy bank. Put their money away in a piggy bank. And sometimes the kids get more favor than us. Someone will just see them, give them 10,000 naira, give them 20,000, give them 50,000, and we keep putting it away. It's the kids' money. We are the parents. We are the ones that should go out and hustle for money. So we put the money away. And sometimes we have needs in the house where me and my wife are not working as good channels. The channel is not channeling at that point in time. But we have like 70K. But it's the kids' money. It's not our money. It's the kids' money. So we're joining it together. So we'll still go out and hustle for 20,000, but we have 70,000 stashed away in piggy bank. Someone would give my child 10,000. By some grace, God just favors the child, 10,000. And I'm here looking for 5,000 to buy NEPA recharge. And I'm like, God, provide for me now. God, provide. And God is telling me I've already provided. If only you came as a family to reason together and you were not running this autonomous family structure. That money I gave your child was for the family. Why are you hustling? Because you feel you are the provider. You are not the provider. You are just a channel. And I decided not to use your channel this time. I decided to use the youngest child as a channel for provision in the family. So we stopped having that mentality. Everything that comes is a blessing to the family. Everyone is a channel of blessing. Everyone is a channel of nurturing. Everyone is a channel of protection. Everyone protects. Sometimes we go out as a family and then we are stopped by either road safety or VIOs or sometimes at the police checkpoint. And they will look in the car. And they look in the car. And when they look at me, they frown their face because I'm a man. Then they look at my wife, I'm not so impressed. Then they look at the back and then they see my youngest child or my children and smile. And you see them smile. You see them smile. And they just say, okay, go. Okay, go. Because of my children here, I won't waste your time. At that point, the children have acted as a channel of protection for the family. I don't have to argue with them. Sometimes I might not have some things. They just say, because of these children, yeah, go and get that thing done. That's the beauty of family. That's the beauty of family. Imagine if I came down and said, no, forget about my children. Let me argue this thing out with you. I'm the man of the house. Let's talk man to man. We will argue and they will detain me. But the softness of the children, because that man has children at home, he reminds like, beautiful children. They remind me of my children. Let this man go. Let this family go. Once you start running your home as a place of joint reasoning, not shared responsibilities, you will have a happier home, happier marriage. So when it comes to convincing your wife, I don't believe in convincing people. I really don't believe in it. A lot of time when you try to convince people, they build up a stronger wall. I believe in reasoning together. And I believe what you need to do with your wife is express honestly how you feel about some of the burdens. You know, a lot of times we men, and we are not vulnerable enough with the women in our lives. We try to be too strong. And so they don't even know that we are hurting till we break down. Be vulnerable with your wife. Every time I've been vulnerable with my wife, it has paid off in spades. And I'm like, why did it take me so long to be vulnerable? Tell your wife how you feel. How stressed you feel, how much you need help. Asking for help doesn't mean you are weak. Asking for help means you are wise. Tell your wife how you feel. Sit down and reason together. Take advantage of what's special about you as two human beings coming together. You both have brains. Reason it out. Tell her. You'll be surprised what she will tell you too. You'll be surprised she'll be relieved that finally it's okay for her to share her resources with you. Sometimes the way we position ourselves makes us feel like if we don't even want their money. It's an insult to us. They want to share sometimes. The right ones do. They want to share. But sometimes you make it very, very hard with the way you position yourself. Like the way I position myself for years. I don't want your money. Keep it. So even when she gives me money, I feel a need to pay back. We don't do that payback mentality in this house anymore. Pay back. Why are you paying back? Nobody owns it. God gave it to us. We don't pay back. Before we say, pay back the kids. Pay back the one I loaned you. But the one that daddy spent, nobody pays back. No. That just builds animosity. No. When you do stuff for your wife, you cook, you wash, you go to the market, she doesn't owe you one. A lot of men use as a source of you owe me one. So it's like, okay, I did this today, so you owe me one. So some people get it back in kind in the room. No. We don't use sexual intimacy as a reward for joint reasoning. No. We do it from the goodness of our hearts because it works. Because we reason together and we realize the wise way to go. For me to wash the dishes tonight was a wise thing to do because I have the energy. Because you are ill and I'm stronger. Because I feel like it. Because I actually enjoy washing the plates. I really hope this makes sense to you. You need to sit down with your wife. You need to pray together and you need to express yourself. You need to express yourself openly and sincerely. And at the end of the day, you realize that your marriage will be much better for it.